Hey, Dr. Bill Sinyard here. I'm so excited. I'm squeezing this into my current series on podcast and YouTube because of the important timing. On October 2nd, my book for Christians who struggle in their marriages and relationships is going to be published. You can get it on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible. And it's my hope, I mean this, it's my hope that it will really begin to help particularly those couples who are at the very end of their ropes. I get it. And no judgment. Marriages, look, I get it. No judgment from me. Marriages are very, very hard. Far too many are actually destructive. I think that this material in the book, Before the Couch, the approach and the philosophy of the book can help. This is the best of my 20 years of working with couples as a pastor. By the way, most of which finally came to me as their marriages were taking their last desperate gasp of life. So you may ask, why another book on Christian marriages? Because I am convinced, hear this, that we have been long asking the wrong questions. Hold up. Because I am convinced. Why another book on Christian marriages? Because, hear me, I am convinced that we have long been asking the wrong question. So typically we ask, as if we were alone in the universe, well, what am I supposed to do that's going to work for my marriage? That's going to save my marriage? That's going to make my spouse love me again or make me love my spouse again? See, it's all about me and my effort. Look, I get it. You've tried and tried and tried and tried, and good on you. And it's just not working. And it makes you feel worse when it fails. And I get it. I've heard from so many people. I tried this and that and something else, and it just made it worse. But what if that's the wrong question? What if the right question looks and sounds more like this? Wait, Jesus, you mean to tell me that your spirit in me absolutely loves my spouse, even after everything they've done to me? Really? I can't. I won't. So, all right, force me, make me be in sync with your spirit and my inner being, or the marriage is done for. That's wildly different approach. Yeah? And that's where we go with Before the Couch. It's different approach. You're not alone in the universe, Christian. There is a power that has its best work, does its best work with dead things. All right, so here's some things. Number 1, stop doing what you're doing. It's not working. 2, you can't fix your marriage. 3, God does love your spouse, Christian, as much as the Father loves the Son and the Son loves the Father. You don't. The only move then is to get the power of God through the Spirit in you to begin to experience His love for you and your spouse. And we'll show you how. It's easier than you might think. Before the Couch has 9 insightful tips, each of which we'll show you how. Before the Couch has 9 insightful tips, each of which you will desperately need the Spirit for. No exception. This will be news to some of you. No worries. You will notice a real difference. Yeah? This particular show is chapter 2 of the book. Tip number 1, stop it. And we'll get to the reading of chapter 2 after this word from our sponsors.
At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than money. It's a way to support the people, causes, and community you love. Because helping you put your faith into action is at the heart of what we do. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
Hey, this is Chris from the Salvation Army's podcast, Words of Life. If you haven't checked it out, I want to invite you to check out this weekly 15-minute show brought to you by the Salvation Army. Recently, we had a 6-week series with Dr. Zach Clinton, encouraging godly men to be the husbands, fathers, and friends God has called them to be. And through this October, we're featuring a series highlighting stories and testimonies of people's faith journey and their call to full-time ministry.
It was just reminding me of who I was and whose I was. I mean, kind of like what Jesus does, you know what I mean? Like he said to the woman who was about to get stoned, like, you're loved, but go and sin no more.
And it always makes me cry when people unfortunately did not have an earthly father, that they can go, I understand what a father's love is because I had an earthly father who loved me.
Listen to Words of Life wherever you get your podcasts or visit wordsoflifepodcast.org.
Tip number 1, stop it. Let's go, Catherine. I'm going to say 2 words to you right now. I want you to listen very carefully. I want you to take them out of the counseling office with you and to incorporate them into your life. You ready? Okay, here they are. Stop it. S-T-O-P, new word, I-T. Bob Newhart, stop it. Couples, aren't you tired of being told what you should be doing? You probably know and have tried most of those suggestions already, am I right? And how's that going for you? So here's where we will begin. One surprising and simple tip that each of you can do before you even sit on the counselor's couch to discuss your relationship issues. Stop what you're doing. It obviously isn't working. Truth be told, it likely isn't helping anyone. It's not all your fault. Don't worry about feeling like a failure. Let me remind you, our God innately loves failures. That's all of us on any given day if we were just a little bit honest. Trust me, He is not disappointed in you. In fact, He is pursuing you right now with an undiminished, furious love that should take your breath away. Your biggest problem is not your partner or your relationship. Something in your midbrain is blocking you from grasping the height, width, length, and depth of the love of Jesus for you right now. No worries, there's hope. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Case study. A few years ago, our congregation had a growing number of young couples, many of whom were struggling in their marriages. We organized a relationship weekend to provide some much-needed guidance and encouragement. Friday evening finally came. The room was packed. Young couples were ready with laptops, and older couples were prepared with pens and paper pads. There were singles and single again, divorcees, most of whom were caught up in the swirling, stressful currents of modern relationships. There were the usual suspects as well, the issues and baggage that come alongside most relationships today: family of origin patterns, unresolved wounds and hurts, infidelity, actual or emotional, porn, fear that dark secrets might be exposed, physical and emotional abuse, brain inner working models, the subconscious beliefs and thought patterns that were hardwired even as far back as infancy, addictions, fears of having married the wrong person. There were sexuality issues, loneliness, isolation, a lack of feelings of desire and desirability, guilt for not being a better partner after the last 6 marriage seminars attended, and of course, shame and guilt related to their relationship with God. I know I'm supposed to love my partner. I wonder if God is disappointed in me. Does any of that sound familiar? Of course, no one was sharing those feelings aloud in the group, not yet. Unfortunately, it just wasn't done. A truly safe place was required. That was our goal, but we hadn't reached it as a congregation. After breaking the ice with a couple of humorous videos, we educated the group on recent marriage and divorce statistics, as well as some of the latest research on the leading causes of divorce. Good news. While the divorce rate for first-time marriages remains between 40 and 50%, it declined by almost 30% between 2008 and 2023. Bad news? A disturbing rise, 4.3%, has been noted since 2020. Hopefully this is not a trend. I can remember when the 2 biggest reasons for divorce were, number 1, finances, and number 2, infidelity. But today, the lists are dramatically different. Surprisingly, lack of commitment, 75%, is at the top of the list. Infidelity remains second, 60%, followed by conflict, 58%. Getting married too young, 45%. With financial problems, 37%. Domestic abuse, 24%. And substance abuse, 35%. Rounding out the top 7. The top 3 are quite related at their core. To one degree or another, the couple has fallen out of love, whatever that means. To some degree, the partners no longer expect much from the relationship. To some degree, most of the former trust has been shredded. The understatement of the decade: marriages are hard. Everyone has their own stories, but their eyes no longer light up when their partner enters the room. There is a laundry list of disappointments, unresolved issues, and unforgivenesses. Hurtful things have been said and done on multiple occasions. There is emotional baggage and bridges burned. Trust is increasingly fragile and fluid depending on the context and topic. The proverbial grass has begun to look a lot greener. I get it. No judgment from me. In some ways, it's a matter of brain science. As it turns out, your brain is designed by God to keep you from getting hurt again. Nothing has hurt you more than relationships gone sour. So your powerful subconscious has created offensive and defensive fortifications and strategies that have taken emotional control away from your more cautious and reasonable prefrontal cortices. Neuroscientifically, the prefrontal cortex is the place in your brain that asks, I wonder if it's a good idea to say or do that. If we hired a forensic team to dust for fingerprints on your recent blow-up, the harsh, hurtful words and actions, they would likely not see evidence of your prefrontal cortex anywhere near the crime scene. Let me put it a different way. Have you ever, in the heat of a discussion, said something that even you were surprised came out of your mouth? It's not all your fault. In a word, you have become reactionary. It's a very normal part of being human, but wildly destructive to relationships. Here's the key takeaway. Often your brain is subconsciously working against you, bypassing the part of your frontal lobes that is at least a little bit calmer, more rational, compassionate, and even loving. You do not have a muscle group that controls love, hate, anger, bitterness, or forgiveness. You can't just choose not to be angry, or not to be hurt, or not to be lonely, or not to want revenge. You just can't, despite what you've been told, choose to love. It was getting late, so I began wrapping up the conference for the evening and assigning homework to the participants. In summary, I said, on a relational scale of 0 to 10, with 10 being gracious, perfect love for your partner, and 0 being hate, we are between on any given day. So think of this seminar more like an AA meeting than a classroom. Hello, I'm Richard or Amy. I do not love my spouse the way God does. I should. They deserve it. You cannot just choose to stop anger, hate, bitterness, fear, and unforgivenesses. You cannot simply choose to love harder. In some ways, your brain is working against your intimacy with your partner. It's not all your fault or theirs. There is hope, massive, unbelievable hope. To quote Billy Crystal as Mad Max in Princess Bride as he lifts and drops the limp arm of the dead Wesley, I've seen worse. Turns out your friend here is only mostly dead. See, mostly dead is still slightly alive. God does his best work with dead things. I continued, in your workbook, you will find a link to a free online love language survey. Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages, How to Express Heartfelt Commitment to Your Mate, first published in 1992 and sold over 11 million copies in English, has been translated into 49 other languages, and the 2015 edition consistently ranks in the top 100 sellers on Amazon.com and top 5 books on the New York Times bestsellers list. Most of you are familiar with it and have taken the survey one or more times. Author side note. Although it may not seem like it at first, I am a fan of the love languages and Dr. Chapman. I am picking on him because he is among the most familiar and successful names in Christian couples counseling. Dr. Chapman has done an excellent job of boiling down a topic fraught with emotions, dark alleys, and IEDs, relationships, making it palatable, even fun. He uses stories that most can relate to. Using simple analogies and language, he provides struggling people with a manageable to-do list. Unfortunately, what the partners often do with love languages is frightening and predictable. I completed the instructions. Dr. Chapman helpfully observes that we have one primary love language, though we may have several. These reflect how we want or need to be loved by others. They are words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. I invite you to take the survey and discover your primary love language along with number 2 and number 3. Write them down on the chart in your workbook. Have some fun with this. Then I want you to guess your partner's top 3 love languages. It's okay if you get it wrong. Most of you will. Just do your best. Also, do not discuss this with your spouse. This is an individual exercise for now. Just bring your results with you in the morning. Any questions? The next morning, I observed a very different group. It took us almost 2 hours, but we had each person share their love languages and hear the same from their spouses. About half of the participants seemed more upbeat, participative, and hopeful. They felt the sharing time was fun, a valuable learning experience, community building, and memorable. The other half of the group couldn't disagree more. They were less impressed with the topic of love languages. For them, the whole exercise exposed deep relational rot. When asked to share their guesses, they were rarely on point. This sometimes brought a chuckle or two or received a snarky look or sarcastic comment. So, babe, I don't know why you want more quality time. Don't I share a spot on the sofa for the Bears game every Sunday? Laughter. Harry, first of all, I'm a Vikings fan. More laughter. Well, babe, we definitely need an intervention for you. Even more laughter. Dear, you've checked the physical touch box, but you're just saying you want more sex. And that's why I love you so much. You get me. Bethel, I cleaned up after dinner last night. We ate out. Well, yeah, but don't I get some points for taking you out? I don't think Subway counts. My love language is service, and I love it when Aaron takes the time to plan a special meal for me from start to finish. He seems to only do it when I nag him, and then it's obvious he's doing it just to shut me up. I guess mine is words of affirmation. I feel loved when Liz trusts me, my intelligence, expertise, and thoughts. I've run several organizations where I've felt respected for who I am and the gifts I bring. But when I come home and everything I do is questioned or undermined, or worse, when Liz talks to a friend or even a total stranger who has shaped her opinion more than me, I feel devalued and dishonored. It was time to move on. I stood, got everyone's attention, and said, "Okay, it's time for a break. We have coffee, tea, and snacks waiting for you. Please return here in 15 minutes. For the rest of the morning, we will learn how to repent of our love languages, specifically understanding how we have weaponized them." Silence. Pre-couch simple and surprising tips. Remember, stop what you have been doing. I will say more. Second, God is dancing over you and your partner. Most likely you haven't heard that music for a long time. Just process that before the next chapter. Third, God specializes in working with things that are mostly dead. It's not all your or your partner's fault. Couples, relax. You've got this. You're on a journey of discovery and growth, and you're not alone in it. Homework for keeners. Watch the first season of The Chosen with or without your partner. Enjoy. Also, Google comedian Bob Newhart's hilarious sketch, Stop It. You will be glad you did. Questions for confused partners to consider. Do you think I'm too hard on love languages? What bubbled up when I said, stop what you're doing? Was this helpful or just maddening? Which reflects your current mindset? Impatient because I'm done? I don't see anything changing that trajectory? Low expectations, but at least I can say I gave it a try, then my hands are clean. I came in with some expectations, but this approach seems a little out there. I'm worried that I'm wasting my time. I came in with little hope, but this seems different. Okay, game on. So I'm going to have some closing thoughts after this word from our sponsors.
At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than money. It's a way to support the people, causes, and community you love. Because helping you put your faith into action is at the heart of what we do. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
Hey, this is Chris from the Salvation Army's podcast, Words of Life. If you haven't checked it out, I want to invite you to check out this weekly 15-minute show brought to you by the Salvation Army. Recently, we had a 6-week series with Dr. Zach Clinton, encouraging godly men to be the husbands, fathers, and friends God has called them to be. And through this October, we're featuring a series highlighting stories and testimonies of people's faith journey and their call to full-time ministry.
It was just reminding me of who I was and whose I was. I mean, kind of like what Jesus does, you know what I mean? Like he said to the woman who was about to get stoned, like, you're loved, but go and sin no more.
And it always makes me cry when people unfortunately did not have an earthly father, that they can go, I understand what a father's love is because I had an earthly father who loved me.
Listen to Words of Life wherever you get your podcasts or visit wordsoflifepodcast.org.
So let me give you some pre-couch simple and surprising tips. Remember, stop what you've been doing, and I'm going to say more. Second, God is dancing over you and your partner. Most likely you haven't heard that music for a long time. Just process that before the next chapter. Third, God specializes in working with things that are mostly dead. And listen, it's not all your or your partner's fault. I'll say a lot more about that. So couples, relax, take a breath. You've got this. You're on a journey of discovery and growth, and you are really not alone in it. So here's some homework. Watch the first season of The Chosen with or without your partner, and just enjoy it. Take the time to do that. Also, Google comedian Bob Newhart's hilarious sketch, Stop It. You'll be glad you did. Here's some questions for partners to consider. Do you think I'm too hard on love languages? What bubbled up when I said, stop what you were doing? Was this helpful or just maddening? Which reflects your current mindset? 1, I'm impatient because I'm done. I don't see anything changing that trajectory. 2, low expectations, but at least I can say I gave it a try, then my hands are clean. 3, I came in with some expectation, but this approach seems a little out there. I'm worried that I'm wasting my time. And 4, I came in with little hope, but this seems different. Okay, game on. So look, couples, Christians, if this has been helpful to you in your relationship, or you think it might be helpful to someone else you know, get it to them. Like I said, it's available on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible. It's relatively inexpensive. Get some for your marriage ministries at your church. This should just layer on top of what they're already doing. Give them another great resource. And lastly, like this show, give comments and follow. That helps us get this material to others who are very, 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 very needy. Yeah? All right, we'll look at chapter 2 in the next Gospel Rant and YouTube. Thanks. Take heart, child of God.
In a world where relationships are easily broken and often discarded, the Rebuilding Us Marriage podcast is your lighthouse, guiding the way to hope, restoration, and transformation in Christ. I'm your host and marriage coach, Dana Shea. Join me as we discuss the necessary tools for rebuilding marriages from adversity, betrayal, and disconnection. It's time to reignite love as we rebuild marriages from the ground up. Listen to the Rebuilding Us Marriage podcast on lifeaudio.com or wherever you get your podcasts.